At the time I'm posting this, it'll be December, and that means it's time for those New Year resolutions, am I right? For most artists, I think it's pretty clear what that is. And what better way than to make a video about it right here? Draw with intention. You'll never properly improve if you don't understand what you're even trying to do in the first place. Why do shadows fall this way? Why are the guidelines you use important? Colors? Colors! Colors! Why are you placing those colors? What the heck is color theory anyways? What the heck is everything? Don't worry if everything seems overwhelming at first, just take it one step at a time. I like to think that art is just a never-ending journey of self-growth. If you learn to grasp and understand the concepts you learn, you'll have an easier time applying it to practice. I don't see this art tip being talked about as much, but if you want to get good at art quick, surround yourself with other artists. Seems pretty self-explanatory, right? But this is actually a really valuable thing. Getting to be in a circle of people who want to constantly improve in art will motivate you to do the same. Best part is, you get to hear their constructive feedback, because sometimes we can't recognize our own mistakes. So that's why I think it's really great to have people around, so you can improve on those aspects and mistakes, and get better. If you're like me, and don't have any friends, think about joining online art communities like Discord. I recommend ones that have art critique channels so you can send in your art and get some good feedback. If you want, you can join my basement too. Just saying, it's a really good basement. Tip number 3. I like to believe that most of drawing heavily relies on your skill to observe, because if I were to draw with my left hand, it would still look generally good. That's due to my built-up arsenal of knowledge and observation skills, and the rest relies on your motoric skills. There's a reason why guidelines work in the first place. If you were to take a look at the general guidelines used to draw an average anime head, they use circles, rectangles, all the basic geometric shapes you can think of. You can try build up your observation skills by trying to break things down into their simple forms. Start easy with a pen. It's pretty much just a cylinder with a cone as a tip and with this slightly protruding cuboidal thing. With every new drawing, I want you to keep note of one aspect that irks you and go out of your way to improve it. Example, if you notice that you keep drawing the same set of eyes all the dang time, then maybe try to learn different eye shapes or something like that. I recommend focusing on one thing at a time, that way you don't get entangled in everything else. And for my case, I was pretty unhappy with how I utilized colors back then. I didn't understand how to color or render for that matter, so for that year, I set my eyes on improving on just that. And I learned color theory, and I learned how to properly render things out, and I guess the results can speak for itself. When I was still pretty new to art, I used to do a bunch of art studies, essentially trying to replicate another artist's work, breaking them down into their very core skeleton. I would trace over their art and try to hammer down the basic shapes, and then I'd apply that knowledge by trying to replicate it, this time without tracing it whatsoever. Doing this will help you get a general sense of the artist's workflow and the way they place their brush strokes. I'd also suggest committing this to memory and try drawing them without reference. This will be a telltale sign that you've learned something from this. If you've made it this far into the video, comment down your art goals for the year. Or if you don't feel like thinking whatsoever, comment 2025. And maybe if you like the video so far, maybe leave a like. It helps me a lot. So thanks. Sometimes, you just gotta be delusional. I mean, being the next Michelangelo? Sure, of course, I can do that. Nothing I can't do. We were both humans after all. We already share something in common here. Sometimes, you just gotta believe in yourself. I mean, sure, you're not there yet, but you have to be bad before you can be great, you know? Being comfortable with being bad should be normalized. Failure and making mistakes is just the process. So don't put yourself down for not meeting up to your standards. Just believe that things will get better. And understand that progress is never linear. It looks like this. If you want to try dipping your toes into coloring, I always suggest beginners to restrict their color palettes down to 3 main swatches. This forces you to consider where you're placing your values and the overall composition. You don't need 1,000 brushes or colors to make something look good. And you don't need a paid art program. If you're a beginner artist, you should opt for a free art program like Ibis Paint or Krita. While there's nothing wrong with paid art programs, I think as a beginner artist, you should focus on building up your skill rather than blowing a hole through your wallet. I've been using Ibis Paint since forever, and it does the job. quite well. Less is more, guys. Less is more. Always prioritize learning the fundamentals. If you're a beginner, any of these will be a great start to your art journey. That be the things listed on the screen right now. You really can't skip any of these because, well, they're the foundation to everything and anything you'll ever draw. And mastering them will make anything 1,000 times easier to draw. There's a bunch of amazing tutorials on YouTube, and honestly, these were the only reason why I improved as much as I did. I think whenever we set goals, they're usually very brief and broad. I mean, your goals probably look like this right now. But what does that actually entail? What aspect of drawing? There's a bunch of things to art. Do you want to improve the way you draw hands, eyes, anatomy? I used to say this to people, but I think there's 3 main factors that separates a good goal from a bad one. A good goal sets a specific target, isn't too broad, and places urgency. Instead of saying, I want to draw better, replace that with, I want to improve my body anatomy within 2 months' time. Setting a deadline places urgency and importance. It ensures you commit to that goal. You should build the habit of trying to measure things all the time. Proportions and everything tend to have a general pattern. For example, if you were to put your hands to your face, you would realize they're actually the same height. Your elbow is around your waist area, eyes are, well, 1 eye apart. Well, just make it a habit to find these patterns and correlations. Maybe try to measure and compare widths and heights with your fingers or something like that. This way you can start drawing things with accuracy without making them look wonky or disproportionate. There's a lot of guidelines out there with measurements already set, so all you gotta do is just look them up. Work smart, not hard. You can draw for hours every day and still not improve, while others can just draw for 30 minutes per day and still get way better than you. Why is that? I think what matters most is the actions you're taking within that time frame. Are you drawing the same things over and over again? If you're not making strides to get out of your comfort zone, your art will stay stagnant. Understand how to learn. We learn by, of course, trying new things, finding out new information, applying them after. You need to know if you're optimizing your time for the best or for the worst. Identify what habits make or break your progress. If you understand this, improving will be so much faster. Welcome to the Wisdom Corner. I think this is just gonna be a regular thing from now on. Just some unsolicited wisdom from yours truly. I mean, this entire video is literally that. Don't let this video take away the fun you have. I feel like I was a bit too harsh or strict with these tips, but enjoy drawing. And sure, learn these fundamentals and all these weird terminologies, but at the end of the day, you don't have to learn everything there is to know of art. I mean, if you just want to draw anime girls, sure, go ahead. Don't force yourself to draw backgrounds or something that you're not even interested in. Also, thank you for 20,000 subs. I've had so much fun talking to you guys on my Discord server, and honestly, you guys are the coolest. So thanks for sticking by.